John, who lives in an isolated cabin in a deserted mountain village in Montana, had the opportunity to stay at home alone for a weekend because his family was going on a short trip. Home was a place where silence and loneliness reigned in the middle of the mountains, and for John, this silence felt like a dream. But this weekend, he would discover that deep secrets were hidden in this silence. The first night, John tried to sleep in his bedroom in the silence of the cabin. However, when he woke up, he noticed that strange sounds were coming from inside the house. These sounds were different from the hum of the wind. It sounded as if something was talking inside the house. On the second night, John again had a strange experience. In his dreams, the shadows inside the house seemed to come to life. Shadows appeared in the corners of the room, then quietly disappeared. In his dreams, he felt that these shadows were trying to tell something. On the third night, John decided to solve the secret in the house. He explored every corner of the house, studied old family albums, and learned the history of the village. In the history of the village, it was written that this area was sacred to the locals, and this hut was inhabited by a healer in the past. On the fourth night, John revealed the truth behind the mysterious events in the house. The shadows represented the spirits of the natives, and they wanted to help him. As a result of a tragedy in this land, the spirits of these shadows still roamed this hut. John was able to restore these souls to peace. On the fifth night, your cabin was now full of peace. The shadows and figures were quietly moving on with their lives, and John rediscovered the silence and sacred meaning in the house. This silence was a new beginning for him, and your cabin had found its true meaning for him now. Sarah, who lives in an old farmhouse among the glamorous forests of North Carolina, had to spend a weekend only at home because her family decamped to the city for a short vacation. The quiet of the house and the tranquility of its surroundings have always been like a dream for Sarah. But this weekend, he had no idea that his dreams would turn into nightmares. The first night, Sarah tried to sleep in her bedroom, but felt a lack in the silence that hit her ears. Normally, the rustling of the forest surrounding him and the sound of raindrops on the roof would calm him down. But tonight, he could not hear those sounds. It was as if the village and the house had fallen into silence. On the second night, Sarah tried to sleep in her bedroom again, but this time she had a strange dream. In his dream, countless black birds appeared blurry in the garden of his house. These birds were covered with feathers and were quietly flying around the house. Sarah noticed in her dream that the birds were not singing when they were looking towards her. They were just looking silently. On the third night, as soon as Sarah woke up, she noticed strange shadows walking around the house. These shadows were like silence itself. Sarah dreamlessly felt the shadows fill her room and begin to disappear, as if in silence. On the fourth night, Sarah decided to solve the secret in the house. He explored every corner of the house, studied old family albums, and learned the history of the village. He learned that a silent disaster had occurred in the history of the village. This silence still had an effect on the residents of the village. On the fifth night, Sarah understood the silence and sadness. He accepted the silence. He accepted the silence with a sadness and understanding. Now silence was like a peaceful friend for him. When Sarah's parents returned home, she expected to share this experience with them. Alex, who lives in a historic mansion in one of the slums of New Orleans, had to stay at home alone for one night because his family was going to the city for the weekend. The old wooden floors and mysterious atmosphere of the house have always had a charm for Alex. But tonight, he was going to discover a terrible secret hiding in the house. The first night, Alex tried to sleep in the silence in the bedroom. But when he woke up in the middle of the night, he noticed that a strange yellow light was shining around the room. The light illuminated the dancing shadows in every corner of the room. Alex decided to discover the source of the light. On the second night, Alex heard strange noises in his room. It was as if whispers were coming from under the old floors. He felt that these voices were trying to tell the history of the house. The very next day, he came across an old family album and started studying the history of the city. On the third night, Alex felt that he was getting closer to solving the secret of light and shadows. He discovered the existence of a secret tunnel under his room and started following this tunnel. The tunnel extended into the underground world of the neighborhood. On the fourth night, Alex reached an old underground cave at the end of the tunnel. The cave had been used as the ancient place of worship of the local people. Alex set out to solve the mystery of this cave. On the fifth night, Alex encountered strange beings inside the cave. These beings represented the spirits of the ancient natives. Alex took on a mission to help them and managed to restore these souls to peace. When his parents returned home, Alex told them about his experience. The silence of the house was now a source of peace, and the mystery had been solved. This story had remained full of the history and mystery of the house, and now it had a special meaning for Alex's family as well.